Hello. I'm going to do a Just Rob Minute on how to make watermelon jam today. So I've read many and looked at many videos on how to make it the long way. This is the quick and short way. Alright, so I've already taken the watermelon, the fleshy part out, and I've cut this into strips. I found a long knife does it best. You just chop, 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 and you get little squares. And then you get these things which you need to strip of the rind at the back. Okay, so the best way is to cut them in long, and then what I do is I just use a small little paring knife and I just trim that green rind off. Okay, so there you have that, and then I just chop it into little blocks. The idea is to get as much of that pink stuff off as well, because it doesn't make great watermelon jam. To me, it doesn't make too much difference, but that's it. Okay, so I'll do that with all those to keep it short. All right. You need some ginger, and I also have 2 cloves here, which I'll pop in. And the ginger I will peel and then chop up, which I'll show you just now. And then lemon, I will just slice 2 slices of lemon. This is about 1/4 of a watermelon, a medium size of watermelon. And then sugar, it's about 1 cupful. If you want it more syrupy or sweeter, you can add more or less. 1 cup I find is plenty. In fact, it's probably a bit much, but obviously I'll have the rest of that rind in there. And then I'll add water just to top it up to the top. And then I'm going to bring it to a boil, and I'll show you what to do shortly. Cut the skin off the rest of the watermelon. So you want it about that thick there, just to take off some of that rind. Now they say you boil this thing, you boil the rinds, and you add bicarbonate of soda and all that stuff. I say don't even bother. I'll show you the quick method where it's just 1 pot, 1 boil, and it's ready to go. Okay, so ginger I've chopped up, so you can chop it finer or not. I like it like this because you can actually chew the ginger when you put it on the toast later. And my sugar's at the bottom. I'm going to add the water until it basically just covers. All right, I'm going to put it on a boil now, and then I'm going to take it off the boil, and I'm just going to put it in an insulated blanket and leave it there for 2-3 hours. The longer you leave it, the softer the watermelon will be. I've just brought this to a boil. All right, so lots of steam. Now they say you boil it for hours and then all that sort of thing. Rubbish. Just bring it to a boil, and then I've prepared a blanket here. You could use a towel. I put a little dish towel on top, so just in case I spill. And all I'm doing is insulating this pot. Just like that. Now, the longer you leave it in here, the softer the rind will get. So I left it in here for like nearly a whole day. It was still warm, but it was so soft, it was just like almost mixed up with the syrup. So if you want a little bit of the rind still a little bit hard, I'd say about 2 to 3 hours, and then it's done. This whole process took me the amount of time it took me to basically produce lunch. So watermelon jam will be ready after lunch, and this will be lunch. I'll show you how to preserve the watermelon jam in a little bit. Watermelon's been sitting here under its blanket, keep you nice and cozy, and it's been here for what, about 3-4 hours. So we're going to do a little test here. So you'll see this pot is still, I can barely touch it still. It's been here for 4 hours, but I can touch it, but it's hot. So we basically want to see, you can see it's gone clear. If I can grab one of these. It's gone, you can see the syrup has gone into it. It's still quite liquidy. So if I wanted a thicker syrup, I could just boil it until the water came out and it became thicker. I usually take the lemons out at this stage because otherwise it gets a bit too lemony. I could boil it up again and then put it in the jar to make, to seal the jar, or I could just heat up the jar and put it in. I'm going to just boil it up quickly, and then I'll show you how to put it in the jar. Okay, final step of the watermelon is I brought this up to a boil again, just basically to create a vacuum when I put it in this bowl, in this jar. So a glass jar, it's probably a bit big, but it'll do. And then one of these metal caps. So you obviously should seal. What I'll do is disinfect it first with some boiling water. So I boiled some water and I'm just going to run it. Also heats up the jar nicely, and we'll disinfect it from any things that might cause it to go rotten. It's nice and hot. So it's probably, I could probably just pour it. I had a nice funnel, but I'll just use a soup ladle. I'm just going to pour this in, and you can see my syrup is very watery. If I wanted a thicker syrup, all I'd do is basically boil it longer and boil the water out, or possibly add less water. Or if you really got a sweet tooth, you could add more sugar. Either of those will result in a much thicker. So I took the lemon out, otherwise I find it gets a bit lemony. The cloves, again, you could either leave in or take out depending on how much cloves you like. And then I'll just put this on lightly. I'm just going to put this over it just to heat it up a little bit more, the whole contraption, and then close the lid nice and tight, and then allow it to cool on its own. And basically that is my watermelon confit, and we'll test it out some toast later. Alright, so got a piece of toast here, some butter. I'll put the butter on while the toast is warm. And then, so this I made about a week or so back. And I'm going to just dig out some flesh here. So some of the rind. See, it's, and then I like to add a little bit of the syrup on top. And let's test it out. Good. So I can taste the clove, I can taste the watermelon and the ginger, and it's sweet enough for my taste. So I'm happy with that. I'm enjoying it. I got a bowl like this, plus another big drum to get through. So there's the watermelon jam the quick way. Thanks very much for watching.